Hello, this is Prophet AmbiGlow, and I have a quick word for someone. And I know it's for someone because honestly, I went through it just yesterday, and I know it's a now word because I don't go through anything that nobody else is going through. Come on, somebody. But the other day, I was reading about the prophet Balaam, and in Numbers 22, and I'm going to tell you what happened to me, and then I'm going to get into the story just a little bit very quickly. But I definitely suggest you read it. It's about the prophet who was beating the donkey, and then God spoke through the donkey to the prophet. Okay, so that's what this is. But God is wanting you to know that you are protected, and the rejection is for a reason. Now, you apply this to wherever it is in your life. This could be a person, this could be a job, anything, okay? Apply this to where it is. There may have been something that God has promised you, and you're wondering why the door is closed. Like, why is it still closed? God may have confirmed to you that you are ready, and so on and so forth. Why I'm saying that if you are rejected in this hour, if you are rejected in this time, it is protection. God sees all things. We do not see everything. God sees all things. You have to trust him. And I'm speaking to myself as well. This is something that God literally just gave me the revelation of. And like, I've been knew it, right? He's always like, hey, my rejection is your protection. Like, I know that. But sometimes we need that reminder, truly. And he is saying, be still. Be still. Like, you don't know what's on the other side. You know how they say it's not always greener on the other side. Well, if you're moving too quickly, you're going to get something that you don't want. And God knows your heart. Let him work out all the kinks in the person, in the job, in whatever it may be, so that when you go into it, you will be prosperous. He genuinely loves you. If there's something that you are working towards, like a promise that he has given you, he genuinely loves you, and he genuinely wants to give that thing to you. It is not that he is lying. It is not that he is playing with you or tempting you or anything like that. He genuinely wants to give it to you. There's just something that is not right. That's basically it. There's something that is not right. And so I'm going to tell my side of it. So there's this promise that God has given me, and I started crying over it again. And I know God is very patient with me because I cry over this all the time. But I was crying over it again, and I'm like, Lord, it's gotten worse, and so on and so forth. And I'm just like, I feel horrible. Like, I don't like being despised. I don't like being this person that I am not. But God is like, it's not you. It's not you. It's the spirits within these people. It's the spirits within these places that are not allowing you to go through. And listen. That does not mean that you need to go. There's a time to be, battling, like, going in and war and binding everything and so on and forth. There is a time for that. And then there is also a time to be still and continue to pray, continue to pray over yourself and the people around you and so on and so forth. But what I'm saying is sometimes we don't understand everything. Like, it is in God's will, in his perfect timing. Each of us has to have our own relationship. Does that make sense? So maybe he might be turning people towards him in this hour. So I was crying or whatever, and I just closed my eyes so tightly because while I was crying, I was just like, I'm so tired of crying about this. And as soon as I closed my eyes really tightly, it was like black, and then I literally seen like a white angel. It was an angel. It was like a white figure with wings and everything. So I seen, it was bright. It was like a bright white angel, almost like a light. And I was in awe. I was in awe. I did not expect that. But I knew that was God symbolizing this is protection. The reason why the door hasn't opened is protection. The reason, and it's important to remember, God has the door for you. He will open the door for you when it is his appointed time. You do not have to rush it. And so it made me think about in Numbers 22, when the prophet was going, he was actually going to, where is it? Hold on, because I want to speak. Yeah, okay. In Numbers 22, when the donkey speaks, he was actually on his way to curse Israel for the king. The prophet was on his way to curse Israel for the king, but the prophet said, I can only say what God allows me to. However, he went because of greed and so on and so forth. He was promised money and so on and so forth. And God told him ahead of time that you can only bless them. Do not go with these people. And of course, the prophet, he went back to them again and he was like, let me see again what God says. Now, we know God is not a God who changes his mind, or, and then that's when God said, you know what, go, but only do what I tell you to do. Right. And so he went, and it says in verse 22 that God's anger was kindled because he went. And of course, you know the story. The donkey seen the angel in the middle of the road. He kept stopping and wandering off. And the prophet was beating the donkey. He beat him 3 times. And then that's when the donkey spoke. That's when God allowed the donkey to speak. And he said, what have I done to you? And then that's when his eyes were open. The prophet's eyes were open and he seen the angel. And the angel literally comes to him, and I'm paraphrasing. The angel comes to him and is like, if you wouldn't have stopped, I would have killed you by now. And this is the protection of God. And then that's when the prophet sees and he's like, I had no idea it was you. Like, a lot of us are fighting and binding things that are actually God. Like, we are literally heaping abuse. And it makes me think of in Jude, we are heaping abuse on angelic beings that we know not of. So be careful with that. I don't know who this is for, but I know it's for me and I know it's for somebody else. Whatever God has promised you, if the door is still closed, there is a reason and he is protecting you. He sees all the things. Just trust him. Okay. Just trust him. I love you. God loves you. If you feel led to sow, all the information is in the description below. My book and private sessions or mentoring, however you want to look at it. It could be prayer. It's just another way to sow. That is also in the description below. I love you and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.